Now, before we get started, I would really love if you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you can get the latest content from the YouTube channel, The Last Rewind. And don't be shy about leaving your comments at the bottom of the page because you are the sole reason why this channel will be successful. Thank you. Hey, welcome back to The Last Rewind. Before we delve into today's topic today, make sure and hit the like and subscribe button so you can help the algorithm and you can get new notifications for each new episode that pops up on YouTube. And the subject that we're going to delve into today is of the nefarious and notorious Draymond Green. Draymond Green, but he doesn't seem to learn his lesson. And I mean, it's not like it's a new thing because this has been his story for pretty much the majority of his NBA career. And he fell again last week playing, who did they play last week? Who did he get? Orlando Magic. He just doesn't seem to learn. Didn't he, earlier this season, I think after the Rudy Gobert incident, didn't he talk about going to therapy and he was going to be a better person, yada, yada, yada? What happened to that? The season's almost over. I think we've got maybe almost less than 10 games left. The man's going to be who he's going to be. And I don't even know if I want to blame Draymond because who's enabled it? The Golden State Warriors have enabled it. I can also blame the commissioner for not being harsh enough when he's been outlandish in these NBA games. You remember where he had this kicking tick in the beginning of his career where he just could not stop kicking people in the nuts. Nut check. He could not stop it. And matter of fact, I haven't even seen him do it in a long time. Maybe I've missed it. But the other night versus the Hornets, he nut checked Grant Williams. And I guess the referees missed it. Grant Williams didn't really complain about it too much to the referees and say, hey, kick this guy out. Or maybe he did and I didn't see it, but I saw the nut check. You would have thought he would have learned when he pretty much tried to kick LeBron James in the NBA Finals, you know, the year that they went, 73-9. It was probably one of the greatest, if not the greatest regular season of all time, and could have been the greatest season of all time, but Draymond messed them up. They were up 3-1, and Draymond got suspended. He pretty much kind of kicked LeBron in the groin area, went after him, got suspended. The next game, got ejected that game, and that changed the course of that whole series and helped the Cavaliers make history. And then, of course, you know, they went and got Durant right after that. And they could have been called the greatest team of all time. Now, some people still call it that, but because you didn't win the chip, you don't get to be mentioned amongst the greats like the Chicago Bulls, 72-10, Bulls 10, our team that had the greatest record of all time, but they finished the story in the playoffs. They won the championship and beat the Seattle Supersonics in 6. So you don't really get to lay that claim. All you have is you have the greatest regular season record of all time. But you'll be in the record books, but you'll be a team that's forgotten because the team that's going to be remembered is LeBron James and the Cavaliers for bringing him back. Or people are going to remember you for that epic failure, which, again, was brought upon, I think. Of course, LeBron helped out in that because he led the team to the championship, and Kyrie Irving. But if Draymond does not get suspended, I don't think Cleveland comes back. I could be wrong, but I don't think they come back. I mean, and this is the 4th ejection this season. Little important nugget to add on this. I saw statistics where who was the fastest NBA player to be ejected, or NBA person. NBA person first goes to Greg Popovich of the Spurs. He got ejected 63 seconds in the game in 2019, and Isaiah Thomas, not the Pistons, Isaiah Thomas, the one who used to be with the Celtics, he got suspended within 88 seconds of a game for pushing the ref. So he's in good company because it was only 4 minutes within the game versus the Magic. This is his 19th career ejection, and good news, Draymond, you are still behind Rasheed Wallace, whose career record is 25. He holds the record for most ejections in his career. So 6 more, Draymond. You might get that in about 2 seasons, and then maybe they'll let the balloons out and stop the game and celebrate and people will let you know how great a person you were for helping your team lose the game by not being there. The best ability you always hear is what? Availability. But at this point, again, I blame Golden State Warriors. But you know what? I'm not going to sit there and act like it doesn't happen in sports a lot, because Dennis Rodman used to be the same way. Dennis Rodman was known for bringing his antics onto the court, sometimes even off the court. But the reason why people put up with him was because of his talent. His talent far preceded his antics on the court. He was a rebounding machine, top rebounders of all time, won many rebounding championships. He was one of the best defensive players of all time, especially per pound. He was one of the best, and his size. So people put up with it, but you noticed once the Bulls dynasty was over and he went to the Lakers and he went to the Mavericks, those stints weren't very long because his talent no longer was worth him getting in trouble for, and his suspensions and him constantly getting kicked out. It was no longer worth it. And this is where we've come up with Draymond Green. His talent is no longer worth it. The headache. And he offered an apology right after the game, of course, on his podcast. You know, this is this player empowerment now where players have podcasts and they like to talk about the game, but they never seem to talk bad about themselves. And, you know, I never realized until now, I know people hate the referees. I'm not even talking about players. I'm talking about people who pursue and watch sports. No one ever apologizes to the referee, like ever. And maybe it's not needed, or maybe because the referee is seen as the enemy. And that's, I guess, understandable. But no one ever apologizes to the referee. I just kind of thought about that. But what I'm going to do is right quick, I'm going to play you his apology and what he had to say on Draymond Green podcast. So let's play that right quick and hear what he had to say.
Be honest with y'all, I kind of was trying to turn my body and angle and go to the bench, and I said what I said like a little too soon before angling my body to the bench. But yeah, it just can't happen. And you know, that like we need to win games. So like I said, not going to overreact like, oh man, like stuff is never as good as it seems, it's never as bad as it seems. Like I know where I am, I understand what I'm doing moving forward, and in my position, just make sure that that's the exception and not the rule.
Okay, you heard what Draymond Green had to say with his apology. No accountability, not really saying, oh, it's really my bad. I've got to stop this. I've got to go to therapy because that's what he needs to go to, or he needs to get a lobotomy, or he needs to take some pills or something to calm him down. Or maybe he needs to, I don't know, get some before the game. And maybe that would take some of the aggression out of him. You know, women weaken legs, you know, that's what Rocky said. And Rocky won. Not Rocky, but his trainer said that. And Rocky won. So maybe that would, you know, drain some of that testosterone that he has before he goes out on the court. Maybe he wouldn't be so mad at the refs. But what can you get mad at a referee that early in the game? I mean, there's no pivotal play that happens that early that will decide the game in the first quarter, the second quarter, not even the third quarter. Right? The fourth quarter, I understand. I can understand. Emotions get high, game going back and forth, you know, or even maybe a championship game, maybe in the first quarter. Maybe I can see that. It really doesn't make sense, but I'm trying to make it make sense from his point of view. What can you get so mad about? And do you ever, in the first 3 quarters, fourth quarter, now you can do it because there's a replay. But are they going to change their minds? I mean, I can see if you're arguing that someone is fouling you and you want the referee to start paying attention. You're down in the post and they're fouling, you want them to start paying attention. That's just a note for the referee. But to argue so harshly with such vitriol, because he was yelling at the dude, man. I don't know if he was cursing at him or what, but you've seen him do it. What is so freaking important for you to do that early in the game? It's ridiculous. And like I said, this is his 4th time getting ejected this year. I think the first one, he hit Nurkic. He always tries to make it look like an accident, you know. I don't want to call him a criminal, but criminals always try to make something like, I don't know, a violent act look like an accident so no one can find traces of the crime. And he always tries to cover his tracks. You know, just like the kicking incident, he always make it like, well, that's just a normal move. You know, anytime I shoot a jump shot, my leg goes this way and the other leg goes this way. How can you penalize me for that? I mean, we know what he's doing. Like I said, Rodman was good for that too. I'm not going to sit there and act like Dennis Rodman wasn't good for that. He always did sneaky stuff, patting people on the butt and then accidentally elbowing somebody in the chest like, oh no, I was going for the rebound. So it happened. So he learned from the school of Rodman, or he learned from the school of the Pistons, because the Detroit Pistons Bad Boys was his team. He is from Michigan. So he patterned, I think, a lot of his career, and he used to be tight with Rasheed Wallace, if I understand. He patterned a lot of his demeanor or ego or play type after the Detroit Pistons. And of course, I'm sure he liked the 2004 Detroit Pistons with Ben Wallace and Rasheed. And I love that team too. But this year, it no longer proves worthwhile because they're not winning. And again, we're talking about, and I'm sick of talking about, the Lakers, and they're fighting for the 9th seed. Well, they're in the play-in seed. They're fighting for the 8th seed. They might get it because, the Kings are getting some injuries late. But they're fighting for their playoff lives in the play-in. And things so far, I don't think the Warriors are going to get in. I don't think the Lakers will. But I don't think the Warriors are going to get in. Because right now, they actually have to worry about the Houston Rockets or nipping at their ankles right now. So they have to be real careful. Last I checked, they were a game or 2 games out of the 10th spot for the play-in. And that would be disastrous. That whole Golden State Warriors team just need to break up. Clay, don't got it no more. Draymond, he is a plug-and-fill player. He will still be a worthy player on some team. I don't know if he's worth he has a 4-year, $100 million deal through 2026 with a player option in 2026. He's no longer all-star caliber, but he's still a championship-bred player. He can do the dirty things that some other players will not do. He can bring toughness to a team, but the way this team is made up and the NBA, it comes in waves. Everybody has copied the Golden State Warriors for their 3-point prowess when they first started winning championships. And there's a lot of copycats, and I think a lot of teams have started to catch up, and they have surpassed the Warriors. Of course, injuries and age had a lot to do with it. I just don't think the way it's constructed, they can no longer win championships. They have to go in a different direction. Steph is still as good as ever. I think Steph, if he was on a championship caliber team, he probably would be mentioned among MVP candidates, but they're at the bottom of the dwellers in the NBA. So that's where we're at right now. I don't think Draymond is worth it anymore. And it's time for the Warriors to cut bait. It was probably been time. I guess after the last championship, which wasn't that long ago, but when you get in your 30s, you start to age quicker. Each year could be your last in your prime. And I think Draymond's prime is gone. Still, like I said, a worthy player, but Clay, it's time to let him go. He was one, I can forget, he was second team all defense last year. So he still got something there. He's 34, he'll be 35 next year. So he still got some years to go, but come on. Ejected from the Magic, hit Nurkic, put Rudy Gobert in a UFC chokehold, which was not warranted. I don't care what anybody said. Now, there's one thing if coming to your player's defense, push them away, whatever, because NBA players don't fight, and they can't fight. From what I've seen in the last few years, the last couple of decades, maybe because they won't fight. Maybe that's why they can't fight. They don't get any practice in. There was no danger to his teammates coming. I mean, a simple push, you could have grabbed onto his jersey or something to pull him back, but this dude was trying to choke him out. And he seriously could have got hurt if he wasn't careful. And, Rudy Gobert, he's always the brunt of jokes, it seems, each year. Ever since the year he was coughing into that mic and like he had COVID and then he gave his teammates COVID, it's been bad luck for him. I mean, besides him winning the Defensive Players of the Year several times, I think he's going for his fourth one. Publicly, his public persona has taken a hit, but his play is still good. So let me say that. Let me not, poop on his name like he's actually not been a good player. Playoff-wise, he's kind of disappeared a lot. But no one thinks he's a tough guy because of Draymond and what he did. And thank goodness, the only good thing I can say about Draymond the last year or so, and a lot of people were coming down on him, and understandably so. Jordan Poole was supposed to be a key piece to the Warriors moving forward in the future. And we saw the video when Draymond knocked him out, basically. Cold-cocked him, knocked him out, whatever. And people were like, wow, that's going to ruin the confidence of this young player. And maybe it has. But he has not shown any signs of being that future all-star, perennial all-star on the Wizards. And they're probably going to cut bait with him pretty soon. He's just not worth it. And so maybe Draymond did the Warriors a favor on that. But otherwise, trying to cut bait with Draymond, at least with the Warriors. And I think he's going to be LA bound, the Lakers, because he's a LeBron guy for sure. He has to be on the championship team. If he goes to a mid team, if he goes to a lottery team, he is going to act a fool. You think this is bad? Put him on a team that has no championship aspirations. He's going to knock out the whole team that he plays on and the team he's going up against. But that's the end of my chat on this one. Let me know what you think. Make sure and hit the like and subscribe button. And I appreciate you guys for rocking with us. And we'll see you on the next episode of The Last Rewind. Peace.